Hello, everybody. KevinJJohnston here. We have yet another episode of Amazing Dating Advice with, Kevin J. Johnston and my co-host, the lovely Melanie Switzer. Now, she'll be joining us in between 20 and 30 minutes from now. And Melanie went out of her way to talk to a lot of her friends that were over the age of 35 to find out a bit about what they want out of men. We talked about how to talk to men last week, but now we're going to find out what the ladies out there, at least Alberta ladies, are looking for in potential mates. And this is going to be, I've seen two of her top 10 lists, and then she snatched the list away and said, no, it's got to be a surprise. So I'm looking so forward to the entire surprise. So why don't we just dive right into this? TikTok, as you know, has become, for some reason, the dating advice website to go to out of them all. Yes, there are dating websites out there, and there are, what do you call them? Less than laudable activity sites out there. So if you're into weird things, fetish websites, there you go. If you're into weird things, you can find any of that online. But for whatever the reason, none of these websites where you can get dates or partners for things have any particular type of advice that's going to help you score better. And when I say score, I don't necessarily mean you know what. I'm certainly meaning something along the lines of you just get more dates out of the deal, or you get a bit more success out of the dates that you have, such as a second date. That tends to be one of the biggest issues in dating. But what as I'm going through it all, and for some reason, all these things just end up in my feed, which is odd because I'm honestly not looking for that. My feed, I'm expecting politics, but I get dating tips and relationship tips. And now everyone's a psychiatrist and a psychologist on TikTok. Have you noticed that? But I did find some really good videos, and I'm going to play them today. Most of them are less than a minute long. And I'm going to make my own commentary on it. And we'll get all of you to make commentary on it as well. We're watching all the chat rooms tonight. We're watching Rumble, DLive, Twitch, and the Facebook room. So if you have anything that you'd like to comment on or any particular questions you have, we certainly would love to hear them. So let me just bring this in. This she looks obnoxious, but this lady is a little more clever than I thought she was going to be. I judged a book by its cover. Here we go.
You know what really tickles my ick pickle?
First off, I don't know what an ick pickle is, but here we go.
When my female friends say, so you're choosing your man over your friends? Yes, I'm choosing my man over everybody and everything, every single time, with the exception of my children. But even that has its limits. And before you guys call me a pick-me, just hear me out, right? Dating is for marriage, and marriage is death does us part. What do I look like committing the rest of my life to somebody I'm not making my top priority? Your friends will leave you for life or their own love. Your children will grow up and move on. Your siblings get their own life. Your parents eventually die. A job will replace you, and you can't take nothing with you. So what? If not love, should the top priority be? And before you say, but you're not married yet, correct. And I'm never going to get there if I don't make my partner my priority, or you shouldn't be doing wife things without wife benefits. This isn't a job. Albeit work, you don't get to show up to your marriage interview with a resume compiled of all your previously failed attempts, okay? Love is only proven by consistently showing your commitment to it. And if you prioritize everybody or everything over your man, it ain't gonna happen for you, sis. And please, spare me you tried it before. Look how your last ex did you. I don't care. I am going to give it my all every single time until I get it right, because my love is my priority, and nobody gets to tell me otherwise. Like, what are y'all really out here doing? For real.
Okay. This is the first time that a very loud and abrasive woman got it right that I have seen. Yeah, you do want to give it your all, ladies. So if you're getting into a relationship with someone and you think that it might go somewhere, well, what's wrong with putting in all that extra effort? And she made another good point about the fact that it's not marriage is not a job. Relationships in general are not a job you do part-time when you feel like doing it. It is a lot of work, which is kind of where most of these arguments tend to go on social media in reference to this subject. And that is young girls under 30 all decide that they want to be married, have all the benefits of marriage, have the stability that marriage supposedly brings. but also be allowed to go out to the bars and hang out with their friends all the time and be party animals and neglect the man at home who is providing for them, hopefully, and who has honestly taken the position of patriarch of the family. So why would you not want to be the woman in his life that does everything to make sure that he is happy, stable, secure with you? Not financially, just with you, so that he can go and be the financial guarantor of the household. So yeah, you know what? Forget your friends. And ladies, this goes both ways, by the way. And I will tell you that when I eventually had kids of my own, every single weekend I was at home with my kids. I told my friends, sorry guys, you're welcome to come over here and hang, but I'm staying home with my kids. I have no interest in strip joints. I'm not going bowling with you. I am not going to your house and watch you drink. I'm not doing these things. I have kids that I'm not babysitting. They're my children. I am just spending time with them. I'm there for them, which is my job. So these commitments of marriage and children, they are very big commitments. And if you're not prepared to make that kind of commitment, well, you're telling all your friends, get lost for a little while, if you don't mind. My life has changed. I'm not a single person anymore. If you're not prepared to do that, then you shouldn't be in a relationship at all. You shouldn't be looking for anything other than hookups. And that's what Tinder's for. So I agree with this girl in its entirety. I said, congratulations to her for getting it right. Let's move on to fact number 2 here. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Oh, wait. I got to add this to the screen. Here we go. What does she have to say?
I hear a lot of men talking about hoflation and how modern men have to put in 20 times more effort to bag a woman that has like a fraction of the value compared to like what his grandfather had to do in like the 1950s.
Fair.
Earlier. But I don't hear anyone talking about the counter to this, where women today are literally settling for men who have testosterone levels the equivalent of what like a 60-year-old would have had in the 1950s.
Fair.
I don't hear anyone talking about how like the muscle mass of men has diminished so much that it's literally
fair,
like shocking when you look back to footage of like 1950s, 60s, how shredded our country was and how jacked the guys were and like ripped, like how safe that must have felt for a woman being in the presence of these men. Like no one is talking about any of that. How many literal soy boys and like highly estrogenic men you have to sift through in the dating market. Men in like their princess era, men who like going 50-50 and don't find pride in taking care of a woman and like protecting and providing for her and his family. How that trait has literally been bred out of men in this.
First, yeah, everything she said is correct so far. I cannot disagree with this. Let's keep going.
Country in America, there was a very clear moment I remember a few months ago. I was on the beach and I was just looking around at all of the men on the beach, and all I saw were like very skinny men with no muscle mass, very soft, like effeminate looking men, soft features, softer jawlines, and overweight men. There was like not one man that I physically felt safe like being around, as in he could like defend me. And I don't think women really understand like the implications of this. And we don't understand it because we've really never had it in modern day. Like modern day has made men very weak and very lazy. And so that's literally the only context that we have. But when you study testosterone and you look back at images of men from like the 1940s, their physical, like facial structures even look way different. Their faces are much wider, their jaw is much sharper. And that's just like a physical indication of what having high testosterone looks like in the male body. So what ends up happening anyways is women settle for weak men because
she's correct in that testosterone levels have dropped considerably, especially in the last 15 to 20 years. And that does remove that strong jawline. That does remove things like, you know, the ability for the man to have that masculine stare, for the masculine stare down. When there's not enough testosterone in the body, he will look more like a woman because estrogen is in almost all food products now, which is gross. And that's a North American thing. And that's why maybe living in Brazil is a better idea, because they're not drinking that stuff. They're not touching that stuff. They wouldn't dare let their sons go near it. And as a result of this lack of testosterone, they're not only weaker muscularly, they're not only weaker in the jawline standpoint, but they are just mentally not ever going to be tough. There's no way for these boys, men, whatever she's talking about here, to ever be strong until they decide to make a serious change in the way that they look at life, but then also go get testosterone injections. Let's continue here.
It's what's on the market. And frankly, most of them don't really know any better. Like, there has been a lot of blame placed on women and things like the sexual revolution, things like the birth control pill for like heightened divorce rates, and rightly so. I talk about that on my channel, but I don't think we look at the opposite side of the street enough. I don't think we look at like what these implications really have on relationships and the female psyche, and how safe we feel, how like turned on we feel with these partners. So yeah, men have to try a lot harder, but women also have to settle a lot more, in my opinion.
Okay. She didn't get too much wrong with that entire thing. Yes, I am always one to tell men it's time to man up. In fact, I had a conversation last night with a very dear friend of mine, no names, of course, where I had determined by, just questions and conversations and whatnot, that he had never been in a fight, and the man is 35 years of age. So I asked him, like, what can you really know about yourself? What, as a man, do we know about ourselves unless we've been in a fight and we've had our masculinity challenged, and then we rose to the challenge and maybe lost the fight, but it doesn't change the fact that we still decided to fight. The first time you get punched in the face as a man, it sucks. All right. The second time, it sucks, but far less. The third time, it's old news. And the fourth time, it's just an instantaneous reaction that you're going to hit back as hard as you possibly can, as fast as you possibly can. And the point that he had brought up to me was that if he hits somebody, that he thinks it's going to change his psyche forever and he'll no longer be a nice guy. I told him that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. So essentially what you're doing here is you're predicting something that's not true. It's just not true. It's not possible. And so you have avoided conflict your entire adult life. And as a result, you're single. And also as a result, you're miserable. And then I said to him, look, we're in this restaurant here, right? It's dark in this particular corner. There's nobody sitting in this section of the bar. Give me a slap in the face. Give me a good, just haul off and give me one right in the fudge. I'm not going to hit you back. You're a friend of mine. This is something that I am doing. Hit me. And he refused because he thought that even slapping me in the face was going to change his demeanor. And I said, look, you're a nice guy. You're a good friend, but your demeanor, quite frankly, sucks. It's in your way because you're not providing that masculine aura that women are looking for. So this gal that we just listened to is correct. Testosterone levels are low. Men's desire to be men is just non-existent. And yeah, there's a lot of guys, especially under 30, lazy. They have no drive or no desire to be better. Now, that's also on the parents. The parents aren't disciplining them. The parents aren't putting them in any particular dangerous situation or mildly dangerous situation or a situation where they've got to work, earn their keep. So we have a couple generations of men now who have never once been taught how to be men, how to be masculine, how to just take the bull by the horns and do what you need to do in a day, because these boys don't need to do anything. Mommy and daddy will give them a basement to play in and supply electricity for their video games and feed them at whatever mealtime comes up and let them shower, should they be the type of guy to shower, and so on. So yeah, I agree fully. Every single man out there has got to step up and man up and set personal goals for themselves. I set personal goals for myself. I said I wanted to be deadlifting 500 pounds by the end of this year. I've done it. Now I've set a new goal. I want to be deadlifting 600 pounds by the end of January. It's something I'm working on already. All right. That doesn't have to be your goal. It doesn't have to be physical strength, but it's certainly guys out there, needs to be something that takes you down the pathway of masculinity. I'm not talking about getting a high score in some damn video game somewhere. I'm certainly not talking about, reading some comic book from start to finish without being interrupted. Those are not feats of any particular type. That's leisure activity. Those are distractions. I'm talking about maybe you're going to read the dictionary, learn some words. Maybe you're going to go and talk to 50 women and ask them all out on some kind of date and get rejected by all 50, but then learn from it. These are things that you can do to improve yourself. And this woman here, young lady, is asking you to do that. If you guys are wondering why you're single, yeah, women these days are a pain in the ass, but you guys are also equally as much because you're weak and you're not doing anything to fix it. And I strongly recommend you listen to that gal and start fixing your shit, as they say. All right, I'm just going to check the rooms here for a couple questions. Yeah, we're on Rumble, Twitch, D Live, Facebook, and a couple of others tonight, everybody. So feel free to ask your questions. We will address them tonight. Melanie's going to be here in about 5 minutes. Let's go to our next video, everybody. This one is called. Oh, actually, this one I thought was real interesting. There's no name for it. It's just cool.
Act like women, and they just want more. Bring back the patriarchy. I want to stay at home. I want to take care of my kids. What do you mean buy you flowers? What do you mean pay for dinner? What do you mean 50-50? What is that? I don't believe in that.
What do you want? What do you believe?
I want a man to take care of me.
So you want to be a
I don't mind. I'll do it. Fuck it.
all right, let's say you meet the guy that does all that. Like, he's willing to take you in, and you basically be the woman to take care of everything.
Yeah.
Now, does he got complete control over you? Like saying, like, all right, delete your Instagram. You can't be dressing all slutty out on the streets.
Here's my thing. I'm not gonna be dressing all slutty and like having Instagram. If I found the one, he gives me everything I need. He doesn't even have to ask me for that. I already did it.
I like this one.
You delete it?
Oh yeah, for sure. Without him even having to ask.
What about he wants stuff every time?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. 100%.
Whoa, it's actually tough to believe that we saw that coming out of the mouth of a lady under the age of 30. That is not a common thing. There's a lot of women out there who have bought into all this feminist tripe, and it is tripe. When it's in writing, it's screed, it's garbage, telling all of you that you're going to be happy without a man and that you should never be a traditional wife. The trad wife is what they're called now. That's actually a derogatory term. And that you, if you decide to be a traditional wife, are somehow a traitor to your gender, your sex. Wow, this girl here has nailed it. She wants to be a stay-at-home mom eventually. So she'll be looking for a masculine man. I hope she finds one who will go out and be the breadwinner, the wage earner, and the protector of the household. Meanwhile, she's not going to be dressing like a slut, as she said, and going to bars and clubs and having other men hit on her. She's not going to be on Instagram taking photographs of herself in tight clothing like a tramp. And she will give it up. The guy wants to get laid, so she'll give it up every single time. Wow. This is the type of woman that men would start wars over. All right, ladies. So if not being a traditional wife is your mantra and your mandate, that's fine. You're just going to have to go out there and look for a guy who does not want a traditional wife. But news for you. Any guy out there who's looking to put a ring on your finger is looking for exactly what this young lady is, or at least what she presents. So gals, women, young ladies, and so on, there's positively nothing wrong with accepting your gender role. For the last 30 to 40 years, we've stuck women in every man's position we possibly can, and it's been an abysmal failure because you're not wired for it. And that's okay. It's okay to not be wired for it. I'm not wired for breastfeeding. I'm also not wired to do nurturing 10 to 12 hours a day. As dad, yes, I changed diapers. Yes, I put them in the tub. But because of me being male, when I had my kids in the tub with me and I'm washing them up and whatnot, it was playing with boats, and it was bubble bath and putting bubbles on my face to make it look like a clown and on their face. It was playtime. All right. But when it's time to seriously just get in the tub, get clean, get your diapers on, get all that done and so on. Yeah. Women have to step up to that particular role because, as men, we're supposed to be out there also earning a living, entertaining our kids, and then entertaining you. All right. These are all the things we got to do. So yes, traditional wife is good. And if you are a traditional woman with the views this girl just put out there, you're going to have a more traditional man. He's not going to give a crap about any other woman out there because he's got a goddess. Think about that. And speaking of goddesses, Melanie Switzer's here, everybody. She's late, but that's okay. beautiful women get a pass, at least for the first half hour, and you're early. So good for you. Welcome back.
Yes, thank you.
Well, what
New
are
Year.
your thoughts? Yeah, just go straight to it, Mel. What are your
Oh
thoughts on what
well,
this girl had to say?
I think it's amazing. Actually, I was kind of surprised to hear that. So it's I think there needs to be more of that because, like you said, with the feminist movement and the deep programming in society now, that there's too much of. Oh, my cat is knocking my camera over.
All right. Bad kitty.
um, yeah, I thought that was refreshing and encouraging. Let's see more of that.
All right.
Any
Well,
man out there would be lucky to have that young lady.
well, yeah, certainly. And she is pretty easy on the eye compared to most of the tramps that are out there, wearing 6 pounds of makeup and dressing like complete tramp. Like there are a lot of tramps out there.
Yeah.
Now I'm familiar with this guy's work on TikTok. Young guy, he's about 27 years of age, and he's out there asking all kinds of questions like this. And actually, there's a couple of other videos where questions are being asked. You're gonna be floored at some of the things these young ladies are saying. But we have to go to your subject matter now, because you are conducting a poll with women who I hope they're as beautiful as you, who are, well, they've got opinions on what men should be or what men should offer. And I'm certainly okay with listening to this because I know that there's so many women that watch this show who call me a misogynist because seemingly they believe I'm insulting women, but I'm not. I really would like to see more women in more stable relationships more often than we are seeing now, because our society has really taken a hit with the number of single and upset and miserable women that there are. And what I've also noticed is that there's a direct correlation to the number of miserable women in society versus the number of happy men that there are. Like that's a direct correlation. So men have figured out, for the most part, that they're better off alone. It's cheaper, there's less complaining, and there's more peace. And then the average guy wants peace and doesn't get it. And the average guy does not have an intelligence quotient over 120. So he's not going to be able to reason for himself not to get emotional about a woman attacking him and yelling at him and so on. And it's typically the guys who have an IQ of less than 90 are the ones that strike out and hit and so on, because they just don't know what else to do. They're not bad guys, but they've been pushed to their limits and they don't know what to do. Now, it's still assault. All right. The guys, don't do it. It's still assault. But men these days have been walking away from it, and they're happier because they actually have peace. And you'll hear a lot of guys on TikTok, especially over the age of 40, saying, yeah, I'm no longer married. I'm not going to do it again. When I require services, of the carnal nature, I can just pay for them. And she leaves. There's no argument. There's no dinner. There's no driving around. There's no nothing. It's just show up, get done what has to be done. And women are having a difficult time understanding this. And I'm telling you, ladies out there, it's because you're listening to the feminists and you're doing what they say, and they don't know jack about men, about women, and about life, and certainly nothing about common decency. All right. So you have a list to share.
I do. I do want to add one more thing to what you were just saying there.
Sure.
I think there's another reason, and I think the other reason is that as we get older, we sometimes just don't want to put the work in because it takes work. So I think sometimes men just don't want to put the work in. It's just easier, don't you?
True. But there needs to be a reason why that would happen, such as he's opened up a new business. He'll be focused on that completely. Right. He's recently a grandfather. Believe me, he'll be focused on that. Granddads enjoy time with their grandkids more than women think that we do. It's something that we absolutely adore, and we cherish that time. And the reason as men that we cherish that time a whole lot more than women think that we do is because not only do we get to hang out with our grandkids, but we're also there spending time with our adult kids. We get the best of both worlds. We get to be the patriarch of our children and their children's and their children. And it is an absolutely remarkable time of life. I know so many men, even in their early 60s, who are grandparents, and they love it. So why would a guy who's focused on his family be out there hunting chicks and putting the work into them when it's just so much more rewarding and fun to put the work into their grandchildren.
Okay,
So yes,
that's fair.
your point is very valid, extremely valid.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
list, okay, you wouldn't let me read the whole thing, so let's get going here. I'm curious. I want to know what you and your lovely friends cooked up in reference to
Okay.
what you
Well,
like.
I do have to say, because you've had your lists that you've mentioned on the show before, and that's the younger girls. So I do want to be clear that the women that I've been talking to lately, most are singles, some are not, some have been married for a long time. But I thought, well, it doesn't hurt to ask.
Mhm.
Hypothetically, if you found yourself in a single situation, what would you look for? So these women are all 40 and over. So I would say this is a mature women's checklist on what they want. And what surprised me, I only had one girl said, no, looks has to be on the list. But I went with the top 10 things, and looks was not in the top 10, and it shocked me. I thought it would be.
Weird.
So,
I thought it would be up there too.
Yeah.
You know, here I am busting my hump in the gym 5 days a week for 12 weeks to put on all this muscle. And I just found out from you it's not important.
Well, not necessarily. I think it definitely is an added bonus. Let's say.
I think so too. Yes. Hell yeah. I've got a candid photograph here that the ladies out there wanted me to show in the last couple of shows. Yeah. All right. And it actually proves my point that women do appreciate a guy who puts a lot of work into his muscle tone, his fitness level, and his health. So, ladies and gentlemen, I decided I'm going to say the hell with it. And here's the photograph, but here's the story that goes with it. All right. Okay. Dear friend of mine, I forgot that I gave her a key to my place. I've known her for, I'd say, the better part of 11 years. She moved to Calgary about 4 months before I did. But I didn't even know that until I had moved here and started blathering on like I do publicly. So she pops by, and as I'm just doing a kettlebell lift, which is a big steel ball, that big, 40 pounds. I'm just kind of, and it's a Romanian style where you hinge at the hips to light up your hamstring muscles. So she walks in and does this. Boom, takes a photograph of me working out. All right.
All right. There you go.
But look at those hamstrings. All right. This size. Come on, put your glasses on.
Look
at the size of those hamstring muscles. All right.
Yeah.
That's not bad, huh? Not bad. That's what legs look like that can lift 500 pounds. So I absolutely demanded, now that she was being, funny with this whole thing. And listen, I don't care. We're men. We don't give a crap about this stuff. It's not like it's an invasion of privacy. I said, you get your mother on the phone right now and you text that to her right now. That was the rule, right? Which she did. And of course, I had to talk to her mother for a little while. And her mom's 71, and I got lots of compliments from her. And I will take compliments from ladies who are 71 and 96 and 245, because I love it when ladies take that 30 seconds out of the day to pay a compliment. Yeah, there we are. It's a nice thing. All right.
Can I just say those are some really short shorts, though?
That's my underwear. She caught me in my underwear.
Okay. I thought that was your workout shorts. I'm like,
no, I wear boxer briefs. And when I'm at home, I don't wear pants. I hate pants.
That's fair. Yeah.
We used to actually have no pants Fridays at an office I had back in the year 2002 to 2005. I tell the guys, clients don't come here on Fridays. So you wear whatever you want. If you don't feel like wearing pants, fine. Just make sure there's no stains on the back of them. All right. There you are.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, some people are going to miss COVID because I think they got to stay home and only dress from the waist up and work from home.
Yeah, it's a true story. Usually I had things hanging out when I was, never mind. So you have a list?
We do. Okay, let's get to the list. So I talked to you about, I think it was 6 or 7 gals. They're all like incredible people. And this is kind of the top 10. And then some of them weren't sure. So I said, well, here's what some of the other gals had said. And then they would just endorse another answer. So I kind of went with that too, if they were having trouble coming up with a bunch of their own. So one of the top ones seems to be intellectual compatibility.
Ah,
So
okay.
yeah.
I'd like to, okay. I think I know what you're saying, but I want to hear your take on intellectual compatibility. Go ahead.
Well, and it's similar to the take of the other ladies as well. So I think it's sort of being equally yoked in a number of areas, so you can actually have a dialogue and somewhat intelligent debate on or dialogue on certain topics. So you really won't run out of things to talk about if you're compatible and aligned in that area.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you put the word compatibility into that one. I have gone on dates with like really intelligent women. You know, we're talking IQs over 130, so in some cases 140 and so on.
Mm.
I remember actually there was a physicist that I had gone out with, and as interesting as it was to hear the experiments that she was working on and getting her take on things like quantum mechanics and quantum computing and quantum teleportation and all these really cool things, and even quantum selection, like just and duplication. Holy smoke! It just wow. She blew my mind with it. But after she was finished this I guess lecture, this university lecture,
Mhm.
there was nothing more to talk about because
All right.
that's what she knew. And I guess after about 4 hours of me learning a whole bunch of new things, I
Mhm.
began talking about the intellectual subjects that I liked, and she had zero interest in them. Like, and I
Right.
mean none. She wasn't interested in human psychology. She wasn't interested
Mhm.
in marketing psychology. She had no interest whatsoever in my experiences in war zones or my experiences as serving court papers as a process server. She didn't want to hear about the street smart side of life. So I drew the conclusion here. She had book smarts. She had university smarts. She had work experience smarts, zero life smarts. Like, and I mean zero life smarts. So
Yeah.
something tells me that in a relationship with this particular lady, it would have been a fight for dominance at all
Mhm.
times. She would never have listened to a word I've had to say because I don't think she viewed me as intelligent because of
Mhm.
the subjects I chose to bring up.
Right. So
So
I would consider that to be not intellectually compatible.
no, intellectual, not
Right. Yeah.
compatible. So
Yeah. So I think maybe intellectual wasn't quite the right word, but for sure your conversation should flow and um, there should
oh
be.
no, intellectual is the right word
Yeah,
because
I guess
I
it
would have
is.
nothing to say to somebody who has an IQ of 65. Well,
Right.
we could talk about, I don't know, like Super Mario Brothers and that time I picked my nose and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I guess the time the dog peed on the carpet, that's about as much as I could talk about with that low of an IQ, male or female.
True. Oh, well. Well, number one and number two kind of go together. So I'll move on to number two here, and it's engaging conversation. So I think the two
Oh,
really kind of tie together. So yeah,
well,
I come up with the word engaging.
I know what my idea of engaging conversation is, and that's where both parties teach each other something, and
Hmm.
both parties remain interested in the conversation the whole way through, and
Yeah,
both parties want to get together and do it again.
yeah.
But I got to hear what's the female take on that?
Well, I think that's part of it. It's
Mhm.
always great when you can learn something from each other, but for sure, it's I think a telltale sign for me would be when you call someone and think, oh, I'll just squeeze in a quick 10-minute call, and then you end up on the phone for an hour because you really don't run out of things to talk about because there is a flow. And
Hmm.
yeah, I think that's always a good sign.
Well, it is, and I've been there. And
Mhm.
I guess, when they learn that I snore, it tends to be less interesting in the next conversation. I snore, ladies. So if you're inviting me over for an evening, I snore, just for the record. I may have to
Right.
sleep on the couch, or you may have to sleep, I don't know, outside or something, but
So funny. That reminds me of a meme. One of these very same friends shared this meme with me, and it says, "I want a man, and I want you to be my man, but from a distance. Like be my man, but from your house."
okay.
I'm like, what?
Selfish, but sure. Why?
Oh, we just send each other these funny things. Um, okay, this one also, I think I'm going to bump it up the list. I had it as number 4, but I should have put it as number 3 because I personally, this one resonates with me and a few of the other gals I talk to, and that
Yeah.
is shared values. I think values are extremely important, especially if you're looking long term down the road and like staying with someone for years. I think values is something you cannot compromise on at all.
No.
And we can't confuse them. Some people confuse values with wants and needs, but values are different.
No, values are, I agree. Values are complete. They're not desires. They're personal beliefs. They are personal life philosophies. And you can't ask someone to go back on them because you're in a bad mood or because you're feeling a little greedy or alone, or your mother's coming to town or whatever it might be. Yeah, I totally get that. And if someone's like, I know that sometimes people have values that actually interfere with their own lives. I get it. But it's still their values. They have the right to have a lot of self-interference. So if you're a hardcore Christian, you might want to be involved with a hardcore Christian. You know, you're a fundamentalist Muslim, you definitely want to have the same thing in your life. If you are an atheist, you're better off with an agnostic or an atheist. You know, those are just base values.
Yeah.
But then we start moving into personal beliefs.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not putting cocaine up my nose. I'm not putting heroin in my veins. I will not do narcotics, not in any way. I will not do drugs. It's a value. I don't want to be with anyone who does. So if you're going to be my girlfriend, and then I find out that you are someone who puts a line of blow up your nose 4 or 5 times a week, I'm going to have to walk because I want nothing to do with it. Yeah, period.
Yeah.
I'm not a drinker. I don't want an alcoholic around. I mean, what if she hides her alcoholism? You know, like, people hide stuff.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
I
They
get
only
it.
hide it for so long, but
That's also true.
yeah.
And Dusty Rose says, just don't date. Well, Dusty, I'm going to disagree with you on that because albeit every time we go on a date or we enter a new group or new club or we have new friends in our lives, we always risk being hurt or stolen from. I mean, that's just how it is. But if we don't try, we don't grow.
Yeah.
Even bad relationships are going to teach you something. We got to grow. Your life will never get better and your life will never take a new course when it needs to. So I would never say don't date. I would say date. Damn it. Now try it. You don't have to keep doing it. I mean, maybe you don't like it, but give it a shot. Go ahead, Mel. You're up.
Okay. I can understand the don't date for a while. Like if you're freshly out of something, sometimes you need time to process and recover and heal. So it's okay to not date for a season, but to not date ever again, well, that sounds pretty boring to me. I don't know.
No, I couldn't do it. I'm a heterosexual man and I adore gorgeous women. All right. Yeah. I want to date beautiful women. And many are going to be a pain in the ass as they come and go, but it is what it is. Right. You and I are both in our 50s and I think we're old enough to understand that everything in life is temporary. Let's just enjoy it while it's here.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What's next? What's next on that list?
Well, I thought this one was a little boring myself, but it came up a few times, so it made the list. It's mutual respect. I mean, it's important, but I was looking for something a little juicier, and I got that. But
okay. but I agree with that, and that's actually a very good point to make.
Yeah.
Because I don't think women know this part about men, but he'd rather be respected than loved. That's the truth. You don't respect a man, then his self-worth drops and his desire to be anywhere near you will drop and eventually become null and void. Okay. Mutual respect means that you're going to respect each other's values and you'll respect each other's boundaries. Now, that also means you're not going to set ridiculous boundaries and you're not going to force your partner into ridiculous deals that they don't want to be a part of. Yeah. You know, like, I'm not going to ask you to stick steel bars in your ears and run around town dressed like a clown. That would be foolish of me. If you said, no, you don't want to do it because you're not comfortable with it. And for me to insist is me not respecting you. That's it. But, you know, stupid people and narcissists would view it, you disagreeing with me and refusing to do it to be disrespectful. Who cares what they think? Narcissists and psychopaths and sociopaths, their opinions mean nothing. And ladies, they should be nothing to you too.
That's right. Yeah. I think respect also is, respecting each other's is not just the boundaries, but each other's time, each other's hobbies and interests outside of the relationship that we did before. Because all too often we kind of leave those to the wayside when we get involved hot and heavy with somebody. So we need to respect that we all had a past, and we should still honor some of that and those connections and those
Yes,
activities.
there is it's not a theory. It's a life lesson that I was taught, and that life lesson um, came from uh, came from my days of refereeing hockey. One of the things that you have to do as a referee is you have to treat disrespect with respect.
Mm.
Okay. Everybody wants to win the game. Some coaches are crazy. Some players are nuts, and they will be rude and crass and vile and vulgar and loud and so on. And they'll shout and they'll do whatever it takes. Now, as referees, we just can't explode. We say, yep, we get it. Coach, I don't appreciate that tone. However, we are going to have the face off here and not over there, if you don't mind. I'd like to get back to the game. Respect. So for me, I was disrespected greatly by some of my in-laws. And I mean, they had no respect for me whatsoever. Now, what do? Do I slap them in the face? Do I scream at my then wife saying, don't you bring that guy down? You choose me or you choose him. Like I'm not doing that. They were disrespectful. I treated them with respect. And of course, what ended up happening is they were bad mouthing me behind my back, but it looked bad on them because I was showing respect to them in the entire room. People eventually stopped talking to them and not to me. So that is something else to consider, especially when you've got a psychotic mother-in-law like I used to have. I always showed her respect, and I let her behave like an ass. So respect. Try it, folks. It works in your favor.
It does. Yeah. So yeah, so there's that one. That was, a little boring. Now, okay, this next one is interesting because you've actually spoken about this on the show, and given advice to other men on this very subject. And
wait a minute. Is a woman just about to tell me that I'm right?
This time.
Never happened. That's never happened. Let me hear it, please.
Okay, let's mark it down. Well, the title of this is actually called Sense of Adventure, but I do recall you telling men, be interesting and don't be boring. So I think that's ultimately what someone would want. And I know that guys think, oh, that's just so expensive. She wants to be doing things all the time. There are things you can do that don't cost a lot of money. It's just, women nowadays, and I think women over 40 don't want to just sit around and watch Netflix and TV all the time. We want to do stuff. We want to live because we realize that we're on the second half of this life, and we want to enjoy the time we've got left. We want to find some things to do and create some new experiences and make some new memories. So yeah, we would like some adventure, and we definitely don't want you to be boring. Okay, man?
Well, okay. So guys, now you have it. If you're, and look, I know this one to be true. I do. Is there have been times in life where I've bogged myself down with a ton of work, and I get home and I flake on the couch and yeah, I get it. And that is perceived as boring. Now, in men's defense, ladies, if he's had a really rough couple of days, let him flake. Shut up. Don't talk about going out. But if he's flaking every day and then flaking on Saturday and Sunday, then he's a flake. All right. So ride his ass and get him out the door. And if he's not going to get out the door with you, then get on meetup.com or any of these other websites that have collaborative groups. Get out and live without him. Eventually, like, men are like rubber bands. They'll snap back and saying, whoa, she's having all this fun. I should probably take her somewhere. It does work. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't be boring. Do not be boring, guys. Well, and ladies too. Don't be boring.
Yeah, we can't be boring. We need to be interesting and open to trying new things. I'm not thinking like kinky things. Well, I mean, if you're into that, but I'm thinking.
But yeah, continue.
not shocked by that.
Why would you be?
But we need to learn to be adventurous, and I think as like 40 plus, there's never a better time to learn to be more adventurous, but still understanding that, yeah, when you're tired, you're tired. So it's okay to have some downtime. It's okay to have some evenings where you just chill and do nothing, because those are nice, but yeah, don't do it all the time.
No, and men, you heard the video earlier from the blonde chick who was talking about testosterone levels being low. All right, so if you are flaking 7 days a week in front of the couch, yeah, maybe get your blood checked. Maybe see if your testosterone levels are low. And if your testosterone levels are down to 1/10 of what they should be, and that's a truth for many men, start getting some injections, man. Get
Or
injections to go do stuff.
their exercise helps with that, and there are some herbal supplements that I mean, I'm always go the natural route over pharmaceuticals, and there's something called saw palmetto. So guys, look into that. There's actually another supplement called testosterone boost. So there are things out there you can take.
Yeah, take them. Oh, didn't you send me a photograph a couple days of some Brazilian spider that bites you and it's better than Viagra?
I did.
What was that about?
Apparently, this spider releases nitric oxide, and you can have like a raging, you know what, for a very long time if this spider bites you. And I can see men
and a very long time is what exactly?
What did I read? 4 hours, or was it? I
Oh,
can't
wow, 4
remember.
hours.
Yeah, something like that.
4
So,
okay, well, 4 hours would be
yeah.
good for a great weekend, but, you know, at the 4-hour mark, actually, when blood stays in the penis that long, it actually begins to cause tissue damage and artery damage.
Yeah,
So, yeah, if it's like, once you get to the 4-hour mark, you should be on your way to the hospital because they will drain it for you.
So don't go out and try to find this spider, because there are other ways.
Actually, but I'm curious. Like, the curiosity is killing me on that one. I used to raise reptiles. I've been bitten by probably, I don't know, 40 plus species of them, plus dogs and cats and all the other stuff I used to play with too. And I was bitten by a rattlesnake once, and I've got a hole in my leg to prove that to you. But none of these bites were ever to my benefit. This could actually work.
Well, if you can't find the spider, you can actually buy nitric oxide at the health food stores as well. So
okay, so nitric oxide.
Oxide, yeah.
Okay, well, hey, guys, check it out. All right.
Yep, it helps. Allegedly.
I don't know if it's true or not. I just saw the picture. Yeah, I did no research into this, by the way. I'm asking you.
Yeah, it's out there for the trying. Okay, number 6 would be that it seems that women like men to initiate the conversation or the communication. So, and my one friend is kind of a new agey girl, and she said that a lot of women nowadays are functioning in their masculine energy. So women are trying to be the ones to reach out and open the communication. Women are like the first to text. Women are often the first to send little things or make reservations or plans and that sort of thing. And she thinks I want to get back to her on all of this, because she thinks women need to stop doing that, and because you're competing with that energy, the masculine energy that the men have. So she said we need to stop doing that and step back into our feminine energy, and let the men step up and give them room to do that. And so some of the other women said, yeah, I like it when the men initiate the communication. So I was like, okay, so women, again, so men, take note of that, and women, chill out. Don't text so quickly or so eagerly. Maybe just, and not to make it look like you're ignoring or game playing. You don't want to do that, but just if you're always checking your phone to see if he's messaged back, that sort of thing, maybe just chill out a little bit.
Okay, so wait an extra 4 minutes to send a text. Is that what you're saying?
I would say an hour.
An hour? Oh. Well, if I'm trying to make plans with someone, they're waiting an hour to get back to me.
That's different. Yeah, if you have a dialogue going, but I mean, I'm thinking
plans aren't happening, huh?
Right. Yeah. So if you have a dialogue going, then yeah, run with it. But don't be a pest, women. Like sometimes we tend to do that because we have needs, and those needs are not being met sometimes. So we're trying to get the men to meet those needs. But yeah, generally the consensus is that us women we like it when the men initiate communication.
Well, I've got no problem with that, but I'm also, I don't know, what am I, like 40 something plus girlfriends or whatever else. So I've been through this, and I
Yeah.
know what every rejection statement is going to be. And what I have found in Alberta here is that the ladies don't reject very much. It's actually, it's a good place to be. Guys, I hope you're listening to this.
Oh.
Alberta, if you're over 40 and you're looking to date women over 40, Alberta is a good place to do it because the ladies are receptive to a confident man who's polite. So it's one of the few places in this country where you can actually be a confident and nice guy combined and get somewhere. Alberta the ladies here are just better. Thank you, ladies, for being awesome. Right. But
That's cool. And you would know because yeah, you've been in the East and yeah.
Oh, Toronto? Yeah. Guys, if you're looking for women in Toronto, just nuke the city, leave, go to Alberta. Just don't waste your time. It's too nasty an area of the world. There's too much strife, too many battles, there are too many mixed cultures in there that don't like each other. Everybody's at each other's throats all of the time. Everyone in Toronto is broke. Everyone in Toronto is always late for everything because traffic sucks. It's just, men, you're not going to be happy being there for the reasons I've just listed. Ladies, for the same reason. Get out. But guys, the women in Alberta are friggin' awesome. And there are so many single women here. I think I told you about this once before. There's a bar in Calgary called Ranchman's. It's the meat market of the city. It's this big, I don't know, it's got to be 5,000-6,000 square, maybe more, probably 7,000 square foot place. It's built like an old saloon. It's got a couple of dance floors in it. And the women are the ones that pay cover charge on singles night. The guys don't. And the women outnumber the men 3-1 on singles night. Are you men listening to this? I hope so. Right. So go initiate. But Mel, I'll just say one thing. In bed, men love it when a chick initiates. All right, ladies. So there's one that I'm never going to agree with Melanie on. Initiate, get it rolling, get it started. Show them that you care.
Well, I was just talking about the communication or conversation. So yeah, in the bedroom, that's a whole nother story.
Okay. Oh, you mean you're talking about that next? Is that what you're saying?
No, but I think we just kind of add that in. So yeah.
Oh, we should add that in. And
what men want.
Oh yeah, I got to actually say one more thing on that because I've had this come up hundreds of times with dozens of women. All right, ladies, when your man is sleeping, that's the worst time to initiate. Just find something else to do. All right. Because once men get into that blissful slumber, we don't want to be bothered, especially if we got to get up in the morning for something. So if you feel that he's asleep all the time, you know who that's on? That's on you. Start earlier in the day. Just put everything aside. Don't worry about it and start earlier. If you know he's out cold by 10:30, you should be on him at 9:30. All right. There you go. Then you'll get what you want. If he's asleep at 10:30 and you're trying at 11:45, you're done. And you ladies cannot take offense to it. All right. If he's already asleep and you're trying and he just goes, he doesn't know what he's saying. He's sleeping. Don't take offense to it. Just tomorrow, try earlier. There we are. What's next?
That's fair. Okay. Okay, men, don't get offended by this one. I decided to call this one Financially Together because we had some dialogue, my girls and I, over the last week on what that means. Because it doesn't necessarily mean we need somebody who's making six figures or who owns a big mansion and drives sports cars. And now, I mean, that's all great if that comes with the package, but it's not necessary. What women want is a guy who's basically got his shit together. We want someone who's responsible and maybe has enough money to throw some around doing some fun things once in a while. And and that's it. It doesn't have to be extravagant and extraordinary. We just want someone who's got their ducks in a row.
Okay. So his car is clean and maintained. His rent is up to date. His bills are paid, and he's got some spare cash for a couple of good weekends here and there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's what any adult man should be able to do.
Right.
That's
But
fair.
nowadays,
All right. I agree.
Yeah, but I've had friends who have dated guys that were not honest about their situation, and it doesn't end well because all of a sudden they can't afford to do things and go out, and they kind of mooch off their women, and that's so crazy to me. But I've seen it happen, and yeah, so that's kind of where this came from, was the women that have had that as an experience. They're like, no more. I want someone who's got his ducks in a row.
Okay. Well, that's fair. And you're allowed to have a wish list. You're absolutely allowed to have a wish list. So, ladies, go ahead. Have your wish list. Just make it realistic. If you're saying you want to make 400 grand a year, that's not a lot of guys in Canada. The economy does not allow for that here. You'd be better off in Texas or, Santiago or San Jose, places like that. There's a lot of rich dudes in those areas.
So I have to wonder if this list would be different if we had a 20-year-old go out and basically ask other 20 to 30-year-olds what they want in a man. Because I bet you the list is quite different. This is women 40 plus. So we've had some life experience, and we're living our lives now based more on values and experiences as opposed to our wants and our
I think the list would be very different.
I think so.
I think the list, you'll find really immature statements in there. Like, he's got to be 6 feet tall. He has to make six figures. He has to have a Porsche. He has to have his own place. They'll want the materialistic stuff. That'll probably be 5 or 6 of the top 10. It's just on what he owns and can provide. And when you'll ask them 2 things, why and what do you bring to the table, you're going to get, they're not going to have an answer for you. Right? They'll get mad and walk away from the microphone. So yeah, this list absolutely sounds like 40 and up to me.
Yeah. And I bet it would be very different if we were interviewing or asking questions to a different demographic, for sure.
Yes. And I really don't want to ask those questions of 20 somethings because even in my 20s, I was always dating 30 and up. I like women, not girls. I really couldn't care less what 20 somethings have to say on this subject matter because I really don't think they know. I know a lot of women in their 40s who don't know what they want also. And that's a question actually we should probably address after your list, is why don't women know what they want? Go ahead. Let's continue with your list, please.
Okay, that is a great question, though. Okay, this one is fairly important, and we're going to call it good hygiene. And most guys are on top of that. I mean, sure, there's going to be days where you're like, meh, not doing much. I'm not shaving, whatever. I mean, we're women have days like that too. But for the most part, if you're around your significant other or someone you're trying to woo, be clean, step it up a little, maybe do a little manscaping, but don't make it weird. Don't make it weird. I dated a guy several years ago who would shave this little heart on his private, and I just always thought it was a little weird.
It's creative.
It's creative, and I don't know how he did it. I was kind of impressed that he was able to get such a precise heart. I asked him if he did that himself or went somewhere to get it done, and no, he did it himself. So
maybe he had a cardboard template or something he was able to use. That's
he probably should have been a barber on the side, maybe. I don't know, but
maybe he could do it for other men.
Maybe
I wouldn't, but maybe he could.
Personally, I thought that was a little weird. So manscaping is great, but don't make it weird, guys.
Okay, so trim, like what? Like half an inch long, or
whatever you like. Some guys want a little there, some guys want nothing. You like whatever, but show that you've made an effort. That's all we're asking.
Okay, well, manscaping.
And you don't have to Okay, let's go back to the smell good part. You don't have to douse yourself in cologne. But women honestly like, if there's really good chemistry, we honestly like your natural smell, but be clean for sure. But yeah, you don't have to overspray yourself. There's a ton of bad side effects to a lot of that stuff anyway. So I mean, yeah, wear it once in a while, but it's
Okay,
not
so
overly well.
no dousing like the Genos used to do back in the late
Mhm,
80s. Half a
yeah.
can of hairspray and 2 bottles of cologne. And they would drive IROCs, which used to stand for I reek of cologne. So,
Yep, and they did. They did, yes. So yeah,
I get that. Too much perfume also is it's annoying because it can really get inside your nostrils and hurt
yeah,
after a
yeah,
while.
yeah. It's
Well, I mean,
yeah,
look, I think the average guy wants the same thing. I can't imagine that any woman out there would want to be with a dirty guy. I
yeah,
just can't ever imagine it.
yeah. And I
Period.
think that's definitely mutual. I would say that would be on the checklist for either side for sure.
Well, sure, some womanscaping, but there are dudes that like it shaved down there. I don't.
Mhm.
Some guys like the landing strip. Some guys like the odd shave, whatever it is. That's a communication thing between you and your new partner. Do you like it shaved? Do you not like it shaved? And
Right.
be honest with each other. The more
Yeah.
honest you are, the happier you're going to be. Okay, next.
Sure. All right. Next is sense of humor. That came up a lot. So yeah,
Okay, well, I got
that
that one covered.
you do. You're pretty good at that. I think that's not a concern. Um,
But for guys
and I
out
know that
there, go ahead.
it doesn't come naturally to everyone. I know that.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't. If you want to be funny, guys, it's all about timing. That's a big one. Timing is huge when it comes to jokes, but you
Mhm.
can say clever things that are not necessarily jokes, but they will be taken humorly or with humor um, if the timing is right. Now, the only way to be
Mhm.
able to do that is to fill your head with knowledge, history, math, some science, words. Read
Mhm.
word. Like go to 7-syllable words and memorize the definitions of those. Then look into the etymology of them and find out more about the words that led to those big words. Believe me, you'll start to increase your thought capacity and your
Right.
speaking capacity. And guys, look, I know this one to be true. If you can't make a woman laugh or smile, you're not getting any. You're out of the dating game. Women want to laugh and they want to smile. So if you are not a funny guy and you can't make women laugh at all, get a skill, a really good one. Guitar, piano, singing, you know,
Mhm.
these are things that
Okay.
you got to find a substitute if you're not funny.
Good advice. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Very good advice.
What do we have next?
Okay, this is number 10. This is my last one, and it's a little spicy.
Oh,
Um,
oh,
women want 40 plus women. Let me rephrase that. 40 plus women want decent sex.
I'm fine. Ah,
Um, so yeah, there you have it, guys. If
well,
so
since it's
you might
dating
need to
advice,
visit.
okay, Mel. So I want to get the female perspective on what decent sex is. Go ahead, because men
I
and women
think
tend to see that differently.
right, yeah, no, I bet we do. I think for women, decent sex is first of all having an emotional connection with someone because that for us makes sex better often, unless you're just an nymphomaniac and just like sex without any other attachment. But for most of
Do you
us,
know
we
any of
want.
those?
I do know a few of those.
Give me my phone
Only
number.
two,
Anyway,
probably
yeah,
only, yeah.
but
I
the
can
women,
hook you
right?
up. And then I think that the rest of that is, like you said, communication, listening to each other, enjoying each other's bodies, taking your time. I mean, sometimes you can have a quickie, but for the most part, take your time and enjoy that, and find a way to kind of draw that out, and be creative, but again, don't make it weird. You just, yeah, you want to, I mean, unless she likes that, but that's communication. You'll find out, you'll figure it out. But yeah, decent sex is not, I mean, it's a myth that you got to be so long, or it's a myth that you got to. I mean, okay, size matters a little. It does, but
And you did this.
well, that's
You didn't do
not.
this.
Okay, I'll share a secret with you, men.
Wait.
If
Should I hear this?
Yeah, well, you can. I know that the length is often talked about, but really, I think girth is probably more important than length. Yeah.
Okay. There was a show in Ontario. It was called Sex with Sue. Anybody who's in Ontario would remember it. It was on Cable 10, which was a only people that had cable television would get it. And Cable 10 in Ontario, whenever you hit channel 10 on cable, it was always community stuff. So, and it was to that specific town or city. Right. So in Mississauga, my hometown, she would come on, not the most attractive woman in the world. She was older, but she had amazing sex advice and sex education knowledge. This woman knew everything about everything. And so with oh yeah, no, and she talked about the fact that the average cervix is only about 6 inches deep. So guys who are 10, 12, 13 inches, well, they're just going to end up cutting and bruising women internally. That's not a good thing.
Yeah, that's not fun.
No, not at all. I mean, like I always said in my stand-up comedy routines, if I ever found a genie lamp, I'd ask for 8 more inches for a total of 6 inches. But I'm still thinking that, no, I don't want huge. I'm happy with what I got.
Yeah. And whatever you got, guys, just, use it wisely. And there's so many other ways that you can make that better. So
listen to what Ron Jeremy had to say before he got busted. All right. He used to bring it up that there's a lot more women that oh yeah, Sue Johansson. Thanks, Carrie. That's it.
That's right.
That's the Sue Johansson show. That's her. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, we always used to watch that because we were young and immature boys listening to a woman talk about sex. Like, and eventually, but eventually I became a teenager and she was still on the air, and all of a sudden it's I'm taking notes, right? So, yeah, it was no longer a joke. But Jeremy, what's his name? Sorry, Ron Jeremy, the former porn star.
Yeah,
he was always talking about the fact that more women will have an orgasm with fingers and tongues than they ever will with penises. So you guys out there got to do what I do. And if you don't like doing it, you better learn how to like doing it. All right. I love doing it so much that I could stay there all day. All right. And I remember the first time I went down on a woman, I shouldn't be saying this, but I will. I almost threw up. And the only reason being is that it was immaturity. Because all these stupid stories in high school about it smells like fish. It smells like fish. It does not smell like fish. God, you guys are so stupid. But so I kept thinking there's got to be tuna and trout and a lobster in here. And I just put these ideas in my own head that were false, ridiculously false. And I was gagging like a loser. And I eventually realized that my friends who gave me all the advice, they were losers. And I was a loser for listening. And I stopped being a loser. And all of a sudden, my relationships got a little bit more interesting. We'll say it that way. There we go. Oh, and there's a girl on TikTok. I forget her name. She's like in her mid-30s. She says, ladies, whenever you find a guy who does it for your pleasure, he's okay. But a guy who does it for his own pleasure, marry him. Keep him. Make him happy. All right.
That's pretty good. Yeah, good advice. So.
Well, I would tell any guy the same thing. If you don't perform the act of cunnilingus, she ain't going to be around for a long time. And it's the same idea with fellatio. If I have a woman in my life who says, I don't want to put that in my mouth, well, she's not going to last. And that's because I have it set in my head what I want. Doesn't make me a bad guy. It just means I've got standards, and that particular individual would not meet them.
Yeah.
Like we talked about earlier, a woman with an IQ under 80 is not going to get anywhere with me at all. I don't not even the first date, because I'm interested in something better for myself.
Right. Yeah. What's interesting about this list is that looks and attraction never made it on the list, although it did come up. So I think we should just add it. But obviously, There are other things that are
Hmm.
of
Okay.
more importance to women 40 plus than a physical appearance. Although I still, there has to be an attraction. There does to a certain extent.
Yes, there does have to be an attraction, but there is one thing that I had observed when I was trying to figure girls out when I was younger, like late teens and whatnot, is that from time to time, these drop dead gorgeous knockouts would show up with these really fat and ugly guys. And I'm guessing what's the deal here? I'm in the gym 5-6 days a week. I'm working out every single day. And this fat slob shows up with this gorgeous chick on his arm. How the hell does that happen? And then I started listening to what older women had to say, or at least older than me by a bit. And they were explaining that a fat guy can have a dynamite looking girl on his arm when he appeals to her intellectually and emotionally. It's usually all it takes.
Yeah, bingo. If he's funny and smart and engaging and attentive, yeah, and meets all those needs that she probably hadn't had met in other relationships, then yeah, makes sense.
Good to know. I'm not recommending any of you men out there become big fat slobs. All right. Just don't. You're not going to live as long as she will if you're going to be pulling that stunt. So yeah, you could get yourself a knockout, but die of diabetes, or at least lose your feet or something. So yeah, go to the gym, guys. You know, really do something to keep yourself improved.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, hold on. Carrie Lynn has something to say here. Just don't roll over afterwards and go to sleep. Women hate that. Okay. Well, Carrie
Yeah,
Lynn,
she's
there
right.
have been times where I'm out cold before I'm even off of her, but not many. And that's been an exceptionally busy week. But I get it. I've learned my lesson as a young man. There's got to be some pillow talk.
Mhm.
That's fine. All right. Or, guys, here's something you could do. And this is for the men out there, and it works. You could put the kettle on before you start. All right. And put a tea bag in a cup or a mug before you start. And as soon as you're done, before you have the urge to just pass out, run. Get her that cup, just pour the water in, get her that cup of tea, hand it to her. Then you'll be able to fall asleep because she'll see it as some big deal. And remember, the whole while she's sipping that tea, she's thinking about how amazing you are. You're already out cold. Doesn't matter. But she's awake sipping that mug of tea for an hour. She'll appreciate you for a full hour afterwards. And that one's for free.
That's not a half bad idea. Good. That's
Not
good
bad, huh?
advice. Yeah. That's
Not
good
bad.
advice.
And you know what? I don't do that type of thing out of spite. It's a matter of, yeah, you know what? She's right. I shouldn't be asleep 5 seconds after sex. I just should not be in any way. There should be some interaction in some way, unless both parties know that they're both exhausted, then let the chips fall where they may. But
Right.
I know what you're saying. Don't do it every single time, Carrie. I get that.
Yeah.
Right?
She
So I'm
was
on your side with that one.
Yeah. Me too.
Wonderful. Let me just check the other chat rooms quickly here. I'll see where there's any questions. All right.
Mhm.
For those who, guys, this is not a political show. That's Tuesdays, so I'm not answering any political questions at all. This is dating and relationship stuff. This is man and woman stuff. All right. There you go. Also, because I am not gay, I'm not the right guy to ask, gentlemen, if you are gay, how to pick up men. Or maybe I am. I would just say, walk into a gay bar with a sign that says, I want to get laid. And trust me, like men are pigs. They'll just swarm you. You'll be fine. No, I don't have any relationship advice for gay men because I've never been in a gay relationship. And the odds of me being in a gay relationship are 0. So
I would think that it is very much like picking up a woman. I would think, you start by looking good, smelling good, and putting yourself out there and having conversations.
Yeah, and men seem to have. I know this. I used to DJ the gay clubs when I was a teenager, so I can tell you the way men are. I mean, one guy just needs to look at another guy and say, "Okay, he's hot," and go hit on him, especially if they're aggressive. Like the amount of oral sex that would take place on the dance floor in the gay clubs back in the late '80s was insane. You wouldn't have believed it if you saw it. Like
Wow.
if women walked in there, they would have been shocked at what they were seeing. I mean, I was taken aback the first few times I DJ'd, and then it just becomes old news after a while. Yeah, like men are in it for the sex, and women are in it for the closeness. There we are.
Wow. Hmm.
All right. Well, we've got some more videos here. And now
All right.
that Melanie's here, we can get both of our commentary on it. This is going to be our fourth video of the afternoon. Here we go.
These are 3 feelings that men typically have, but they won't tell women. Number 1, when he says it's okay or no worries when you don't reply to his texts. This actually really hurts his feelings, even if your reasons for not texting him back are genuine. If you have enough time to look at your phone and see a text, you have enough time to send a quick reply. Because he wants to feel like he matters enough to be a priority in your life, outside of when he's doing something for you or giving you something. 2, he does not like it when you call yourself ugly or hate on yourself in any way, even though he tries to make you feel positive, because he just thinks it's nonsense when he truly sees your beauty for what it is. But for
Absolutely true. I can't stand that garbage. It's irritating. It's not flirtatious in any way. Nothing good can come out of that. It sucks the life out of the room, and it sucks the life out of the relationship for a very short period, well, maybe even a longer period of time. There's nothing worse than hearing that coming out of a woman's mouth, especially one that you're attracted to. All right, keep going here.
some reason, he can't get you to see the truth, which is frustrating. Lastly, number 3, if he sends you memes or TikToks during the day, you are one of the closest people to him, because he's only sending that stuff to 1, maybe 2 people. So make sure to watch it at least, and better yet, even bring it up into conversation later on. Tell him how funny it was, or even have a deeper conversation about it. If you do that, that man will be hooked forever.
She's right. I don't send memes to anyone. I don't, except for one gal that in the last little while that kind of caught my eye, and I sent her some memes and some cutesy texts and whatnot. But I'm not sending that stuff out to everybody. And why would I? It's time I'm not getting back. Yeah, Mel. I mean, why don't we ask this question of you? Because you tend to be smarter than most people I know. Why do women do this self-immolation crap? I'm so ugly. I don't feel sexy. I'm not. Yeah. Men don't look at me anymore. It's all stupidity. And
Yeah.
And I need to know why. Why does this happen?
Well, I wish I knew. I think for some women, I know it's just a lack of self-confidence and self-esteem. But to me, it's just such a psychologically damaging cycle, because you're beating yourself up and you're never going to make yourself feel better by continually putting yourself down. And women need to stop that for sure. I don't care who you are, you have good qualities and you need to focus on those. There may be things you're not happy with where you're at, that you can set some goals to make some changes, but for crying out loud, look at the good stuff, because we all have some of that. So focus on that, and that'll probably make you feel better overall, or at least start to. So
Okay, so don't do it, ladies. It's pathetic.
It's honestly it's even annoying. Like if your friends beat themselves up all the time, because even as a girlfriend, you're like, oh my gosh, stop it already.
Yeah, shut up.
Right?
Shut up. My God.
Yeah.
There's got to be something happy in your life,
Right.
Talk about that.
Exactly. And we all have something good. So just focus on that and be grateful for some of that. So.
Okay. I'm being told here in the Rumble chat, Kevin, you are picky and never selective. There's more to life than BJ's. Okay. There's a little bit more to life than BJ's, sure. But okay. So imagine I am picky. I have the right to be. Yeah. I don't want to be involved with a woman who's 7 feet tall. I just don't. And I won't. I promise you that. I prefer women to have long hair. Sorry, Mel, but no. I mean, you pull it off nice, but the average woman doesn't. And that's just my personal opinion. And that's me being picky. All right. So why not? Well, here, am I not allowed to be picky? Let's let you answer this question. Go ahead.
You are. Do I think you're extremely picky? Yes, you are. But I mean, again, you're allowed
Thank
to
you.
be. You're allowed to be. I mean, we're not we're not going to be happy if we settle. So at least you know what you want. And I think there's not enough people out there that know what they want. So if you
Which
don't,
okay.
figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah, and that leads me back to the other question about why is it that on average men know what they want and women don't?
Yeah. Again, I think that some women um they haven't figured it out because they're too hung up on what does the world want? What does the world expect? What does the world think? What box am I supposed to fit into? And I think as you get older, I know for me, I mean, I think I got trapped in that when I was younger in my 20s. But as you get older, you care less about what the world thinks you should be and where you should fit. And you kind of become your own person. And I think women need to focus on that because then you can decide, okay, this is important to me. This not so much. This is definitely, top on my checklist that I won't compromise on. But you need to figure that out, and maybe that comes with age, or maybe it just comes with experience, or maybe a little of both. I don't know.
Yeah, it's always blown my mind. Even I know a lot of gals out there, single, married, whatever it might be, over 40, who they have what they want. They've got a paid off house, they've got a paid off car, they've got some money in the bank, not a ton, but some. Their
Yeah.
credit card bills are under $1,000 and so on. They've got their bills under control. They're still married to their original husband. Their kids are healthy, they're healthy, but they're still not happy.
Yeah.
What in the hell is that? Now, when a man gets to the point where his house is paid off and the cars are paid off and all that same stuff is true, still married to his original wife and she's not a psycho, and his kids are healthy and whatnot, he's happy. He's on top of the world. He's king of a domain that he's proud of. And at that point, then he can say, okay, I'm happy with this, but the next thing that I want is a boat. So I'm going to work overtime for the next 5 months and get that boat. And when he gets the boat, he's happy for a year, 2, 3, whatever it might be. And then the next thing will come up. But men's goals will make them happy for a longer period of time than you might think. Can we get ladies there somehow?
I think some women are content with that as well, but yeah, I don't know. There's some that are just never happy. I mean, I know some that are just never. There's always something, something missing.
Oh, okay. Jilco, JL Cho in the Rumble Room says, I'm picky too. And I know what type of partner I am looking for. And that's good. That's one of our gals, one of our lady fans out there watching the show. And I'm happy for you. And you should be picky. Why would you not be picky? This is you we're talking about. This is your happiness that we're talking about. And it's not your job to feel sorry for others who aren't up to the standards that you've set. I mean, if you've got ridiculously high standards and you have nothing to offer, then yeah, too bad. You're going nowhere.
Yeah.
But if you do have something to offer intellectually or financially or a combination of the two, or I guess lovingly, or as you said earlier, sexually and so on, then you're in the running. But don't be surprised if you eventually get dumped when the picky woman or the picky guy comes across better for them.
Right.
It can happen.
Well, and let's be honest, most of us, that are even say 30 plus have had some failed relationships and had some shitty ones. And so we've kind of learned from that what we don't want and what cycles we maybe don't want to repeat. And so, yeah, I think our list as we get older gets more specific, and that's okay.
Okay. Well, yeah, okay. I know that the volume on the videos are a little bit low, folks. It's annoying. I don't know why that is. I'm going to see if I can turn it up just a little bit for you. All right. Let's see if this works. All right. Our next video. This is our 5th one for the night. This one's also pretty good. Oh, hold on. Wait. Let's put this up first. I keep doing it in the wrong order. Here we go.
When a woman wounds a good man, She has to understand that he's no longer going to show up the same. Once he puts his time, energy, and trust into someone and they break it, he may still love them, but the pain will have changed him into a person who no longer trusts or cares as much as he used to. When a woman
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. This is something that women should know about men, is that if he not necessarily issues a command, but if he is saying a set thing must be done, he's thought it through. There is a reason or several reasons why that specific command is being issued to you. Could be something simple, like a ceiling fan. Whatever ceiling fan that we get must not extend below 8 inches from the ceiling. And then you go out and deliberately buy ones that extend 2 feet down. And everything you do from there on in, the fan hits something, right? He's going to be pissed off, aggravated. And every time that fan gets in the way, he's going to be reminded of your lack of respect for him and your lack of trust in the fact that he knew that the 8-inch fan or the 8-inch height was going to be the better move. So that's a silly example, but you do 40 things like that. And believe me, it culminates, it adds up, and you've lost them. Right? One of the more silly things out there, and this is not, ladies, I'm not insulting you. This is not an insult against women, but women tend to not have street smarts. Why? Because you don't put yourself in the crazy situations that men do. The only women out there that really have street smarts are prostitutes or the homeless. And I know this because I've interviewed many of them in my journalism days and for my older shows. They're street smart, but it's a forced street smart. It wasn't that they wanted to be street smart. It's just that the streets beat them up enough that they knew how to protect themselves on the streets after being jaded for years. But guys, we don't get jaded. You know, we get into a wrestling match and so on. You win, you lose. It doesn't make a difference. Later that day, we're going to have a slice of pizza and be happy about it. But we learned something. One thing that did happen here, I'm not going to mention names, but there was this jerk kid, 19 years of age, black kid who was about 6 feet tall, was looking for a fight. And I wasn't going to give it to him. However, the woman I was with decides at this exact moment, now it's time for her to shine. She's going to fix this problem. And the problem was that he wanted to fight, and I was only going to fight if he struck first. I was trying to avoid being struck at all. What's the solution? Get in the car. Let's leave. This kid's an idiot. Well, this lady decides to justify herself and myself to him. Obviously, in some way, we upset this guy. Don't really care why. I really don't. And I kept saying, get in the car. Get in the car. And I'm saying it right in front of this guy. He doesn't care. He does not want to hear your explanations. You are talking to a young man. You're not talking to a fellow woman in your 30s. Get in the goddamn fucking car. Yeah. And she wouldn't do it. She had to say her piece to this guy who wanted a fight. And eventually I had to physically grab the jacket and get her in the car, get in the car myself and drive off. And I told her, you know, you have destroyed our relationship today. I can't trust you to do the right thing. He was looking for a fight. I don't know if he had a gun, a knife, a steel pipe, fish hooks. I don't know what he had, but I wanted nothing to do with the fight. And you elongated the situation and put both of us in danger. What's the matter with you? And then here's the response I got. You just think I'm stupid. Well, yeah, I do. And I think that you have no respect for me. And I think that you're arrogant. And I think what you did tonight was the dumbest thing I've seen in years. Yes, you are stupid. That's how I reacted to that, because I'm not going to mince words when someone has made a belligerent mistake as such. So what I'm getting at here is that I viewed that as the height of disrespect, and I no longer trusted this woman with anything. So the relationship did not last, because you need to have my back. I don't think she paid attention to anything that I had to say about my life up to that particular point. I used to box 150 plus fights, street fights, dozens of street fights that I've been in. Like just stupid skirmishes in bars and whatnot. When I was a younger man, I wasn't the calm guy that I am today. I know how to handle myself. And I also know what the signs are of another man who's looking for trouble. And when you go looking for trouble, you will find it. You're not going to talk a man out of fighting who wants to fight. So don't fucking do it. Pardon my French. But, you know, ladies, you have to trust your man. You cannot get involved in that when he's already begged you to get in the car, because my goal was to leave, not stand there and converse. And this is the difference between intelligence and street smarts. And I would much rather be street smart than hyper intelligent, because you'll live longer. You really will. So you, being the lovely lady that you are and the smart gal that you are, could I maybe get a thought from you on why the woman that I was with at that particular time felt she could change the situation by continuing to talk to this guy and justify whatever she felt she had to? Go ahead.
Well, I think that comes down to the whole men need to be respected. And so that was definitely wrong on her part. Why she did it, I don't know, unless she felt that she could make a difference. And obviously it really didn't. And
No, it didn't.
It could have escalated it to making it worse, in fact.
Actually, it was escalating it. This guy was getting angrier and angrier. He wanted the fight.
Yeah.
And she was putting it into a position where I had to fight at that particular time. It was really coming close.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that a lot of you gals out there, you'd rather see peace, and you hold up the peace sign, and you think just because you ask for peace, you're going to get it. But that's not how an angry man works.
Yeah.
So trust your man. Trust me in that.
However,
I knew what the solution was.
right. However, I do think your reaction to her was a little harsh as well, coming from a woman's perspective.
Yeah. And I would see that. I would. And
Yeah.
you're not wrong to say that. It's just that my trust was completely gone at that point.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to count on my woman to respect my knowledge, what I bring to the table, which is a ton of street smarts and the ability to defend myself and her. And I did not want to be in a fist fight over words that may or may not have been said earlier in the day. It's not worth fighting for. So yes, once my trust has been taken from me, as she said in the video there, it's not coming back.
And that was clearly a pivotal moment in that relationship, because
it was. Everything went downhill from there, because I did not feel respected. I knew she didn't trust me. And as a result of that, I didn't trust her, but not tit for tat. It was a matter of, oh my God, she's going to get us killed. This is a stupid person who really does not understand life.
Yeah.
And doesn't understand that I do. And that my goal was to keep her safe. Get in the goddamn car.
Yeah. So that kind of reminds me of that story I told a few weeks back about the why do women ask leading questions, and how I was saying, guys, be careful, because sometimes when we ask those, we already have an answer prepared in our mind that we want to hear. And if you're going to be a dick, that could be a pivotal moment in that relationship. So I think this is one of those moments where, yeah, she violated that respect, and that was definitely a pivotal moment. So I feel like we all need to, if we're in a relationship that we really value, we need to pay attention to all of those little things, all of those opportunities where we could be screwing up, and catch ourselves before we do that.
Yes. This goes back to the whole thing about gender roles. My job as a man was to protect her, which is what I was trying to do. She actually would not let me protect her, because she just had to be heard. She had to open her mouth and talk to someone that did not want to be spoken to. And honestly, like the more I think about this particular instance, I remember how the whole thing played out. This guy was ready to pounce. And if he got a lucky shot on me and I went down, she was next. Right. She didn't seem to understand that. My job as the man is to take the hit. I go down to the ground.
Yeah.
But she's safe.
Yeah.
And you have to let your man be the valiant of the two of you. Yeah. So what she did, maybe she thought she was being valiant. It wasn't. It was really reckless, childish, and stupid. Right? But,
I feel like
I'm not carrying animosity. I'm saying this as an example. Because ladies,
Learning, yeah.
yeah,
We can learn from these scenarios for sure. I really need to get back in touch with my Frenchy granola friend about the whole masculine feminine energy thing, because I feel like this maybe was one of those moments where she was operating in a more of a masculine energy, and that was a conflict there. So
that's
I
possible.
yeah.
You know, well, as I told you before, I am picky as per what I was told there in the Rumble chat room, and I am always wanted to be with women who are smarter, who have higher intelligence quotients. That's just how it is. Regrettably, sometimes people mistake their book intelligence for life intelligence, and a book intelligence is not life experience. And drawing on life experience is something that I do. I remember every lesson I've learned. And I've learned some very, very harsh lessons. I've had bones broken because I was in the wrong place at the wrong time and didn't recognize the problem. I do now. And I suppose I need to communicate that with anybody that I'm involved with, is that there was a day for almost 4 straight years where I was fighting 3 to 5 times a week. I know how to take a punch. I can deliver a punch. Don't you put yourself between me and the opponent. Get behind me. Let me do my job so that you stay safe and be able to do yours. And that's life experience, right? Yeah. So if you look, ladies, you've never been in fights. Most of you have never been in fist fights. And you certainly have not been in fist fights with men where you actually had a shot to win. So why would you want to put yourself in that situation? Get away from the fight. Even as a guy that can fight, and believe me, I can destroy opponents, I still don't do it. What's the point? Forget it. But please, I beg you, let me protect you. Okay, let's move on. We've got another video here. This one here, there's some profanity in this one, folks. So yeah, whatever. It's a good point. It is a good point. It's a very good point. All right, let's get this on there for us.
Women have a problem with submission because they view it as it's something that's negative. No. You should be able to submit to your man because you should be able to trust enough in his leadership. And a lot of the times when you men say like, oh, I don't want you going to a bar, I don't want you going to a club, it's because you're a fucking man. You know what happens there. You know that men there just want to fuck, or there's weirdos that want to like put shit in your drinks, or there's drama, or it's just a whole ass environment that you can't be there to protect your female if it came down to it. You would have to live with that guilt. You know what I mean? She gets assaulted and you can't do nothing about the man that did that to her. You would live with that. And women don't understand that. They think it's control. No, your man's being a protector, as he should. And as his woman, you should respect it. You should honor the fact that your man can see the dangers that you can't. Simple as that.
There we go. Which is exactly what I just talked about. I do recognize danger. I see where the problems are going to be. And look, I even go so far as whenever I'm going somewhere, I know where the emergency exits are. And I know where the pillars are that I could hide behind just in case some gunman decides to walk into a place. It's not a common occurrence. In fact, it's very rare. But I still know where to dive down. I know where to pull my woman down to the ground and get on top of her so I take the bullets. My job as a man to do that. Or to pick her up, throw her over my shoulder, and run to whatever, the obstruction that will stop bullets from flying at us. My job. That is what I do. And I'm mocked. In many cases, the women I date, I'm mocked for this. They're like, oh, you're just being paranoid. He, ha, ha, ha. Oh, you're being silly. Ha, ha. No, that's annoying. I'm doing it so the two of us leave here alive. That is my job. And if you're not doing that as a woman, why would you mock a man for doing that? He's not trying to hurt you. He's thinking about the love of his life. He wants you alive for as long as possible. Trust your man. If he's got that kind of foresight, trust him. Now, she makes a good point about guys at the clubs just wanting to bang you. That's true. That's absolutely true. So why would you want to be involved with a man who provides everything and then go dress like a tramp and be with your tramp friends in a trampy bar where sometimes evil to the core men are? And she's right. if I was unable to protect my woman from something, I'd feel like shit for the rest of my life. I would not be able to forgive myself for it. It would be something I would have to live with. It's unfair to put yourself in that position, considering the position that I would be in afterwards. So I just wanted to bring that one up. Let's get your thoughts on this.
I'm different than most. And actually, I have been for a long time. I mean, I went through some phases in my 20s, but when I was 20, I actually married my first husband, and it was a very
20?
traditional. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, go on.
Yeah. And he was much older than me. We had a farm. I wanted to just raise animals and babies and stay home. And he wanted that too. He wanted a little woman to be on the farm with. As time went on, obviously we grew apart. And there were some, I think, sometimes, yeah, when you're too young, you don't really know who you are yet. And you're still developing your personality and your interests and your hobbies. And so it's easy to kind of grow apart. And if you're not growing together in directions, then yeah. So that's a bit young to get married. That would be my advice, is to not get married at 20. But I've always been kind of traditional, and I favored those traditional roles. And I think that they exist for a reason, because if we look, I mean, the world's messed up right now. Relationships don't last, but you know what? 100 years ago they did, and maybe those traditional values were what strengthened that whole concept and the whole traditional family unit. So
Well, I agree with you. I mean, if we had more traditional families out there, we'd certainly have a lot less hell on earth in our cities now and our countries. The family unit's been under attack for quite some time, and unfortunately, a lot of women are falling for this feminist crap, and they're walking away from their marriages en masse, thinking they can do better.
Yeah.
And as I've covered in a couple of previous shows, if you've got a guy who loves you and doesn't hit you and provides, no, you can't do better. And the only time that you can do better, ladies, it would probably be financial, but only if you're a smoking hot 36, 24, 36, gorgeous face, thick hair, and and you're hot to trot. Then sure, you'll get a richer guy, but not necessarily one who loves you or will do anything for you beyond show you a good time with his cash and then take you to bed. We have to really be a little more cognizant of these things and be a bit more traditional. But I agree, 20 is way too young. These days, we're living to be 100. Why would you want to be married for 80 years? That's a big commitment.
Yeah.
All right. This next one, this is a weird phenomenon, and this video is kind of choppy because it's been re-edited a couple times, but there's a new phenomenon out there that you probably did not know exists. Let's put this up and let's get the video going.
Anyone who's not convinced yet that the big divorce is coming, I totally agree that the big divorce is coming, and it's going to be a rude awakening for men. Well, I hope it's the rude awakening that men have needed for thousands of years.
I have 4 big things to say about this, but first of all, I'm not quite sure where this belief came from, that if more women divorce their husbands, that these men are just going to believe that it was all their fault and they're going to grow and get better. No, there's never just fault on one side, and men know that. Second of all, most men that go through divorce end up losing a lot in the form of lost time with their children and financially through spousal support and child support. So many men just feel victimized by the court system. Thirdly, a lot of these men that get put through the ringer, they eventually build themselves back, and they realize that they're a lot happier being single. It's actually a lot more peaceful for them. And fourthly and lastly, a lot of men never want to get married again, or in the first place, because they hear women like this talking about divorce as if it's some sort of punishment for her not being happy, as if his needs and the family's needs have nothing to do with it. And men are smarter than that. They don't want any part of it.
She's correct. The big divorce. It's a movement, if you will, where you've got hundreds of thousands of women stating that men need to be taught a lesson and that we're going to divorce you en masse and all men will be better as a result, because men are going to look introspectively into the collectively. All men are going to do what? Share the same brain and think introspectively. Hey, you know what? If I wanted less sex, she'd still be with me. Hey, if I watched one fewer football games a year, she'd still be with. No, that is not going to happen. The guy is going to get through the divorce and lose as little money and time and heartache as he possibly can. And if there's kids and he loves his kids, he'll fight tooth and nail for custody. That's going to take a couple of years. So this big divorce thing, ladies, is just a way to screw society up. It's not going to happen. You're freaking delusional if you think that millions of you divorcing men at the same time is going to change male psyche. It's not. It's going to make men more independent. It's going to make them stronger is what it's going to do. And like the Passport Brothers do, it's going to send more men out of North America to find potential wives there. So North American women, I think one of the videos I'm going to show here shortly explains this. Like half of women in the next 5 to 10 years are never going to have kids because men are done. This type of feminist tripe, this stupidity, it's poisonous. And for some reason, women are very easily subjected to it. Like this power of suggestion that feminists have is terrifying. Please, let's hear this. You're up.
I thought you were going right to the video.
This stupid big divorce thing. Your thoughts, please.
Well, actually, I do agree with you on almost all of that, and divorce is just so damaging. All it's empowering is our messed up court system, really. Families lose out, kids lose out. So if you're divorcing because you think it's trendy or whatever the reason, or you think you're going to teach men a lesson, gosh, yeah, it's no wonder our society is plummeting into despair because we have such a disposable mindset. And it's really a shame because at some point, I think there has to be a turnaround or turning point where men and women realize that there is something to be said for like strong commitments and unwavering dedication to the end game. And but right now we're a long ways from that.
Okay. And as for the folks in the Rumble room, I know there's someone there named Ash Waganda or something like that. Feel free to ignore him. That's fine. With the trolls show up once in a while, and he's probably going to start talking about my junk. Just ignore him. Don't bother with him. I've muted him. I don't know if it actually works that way on Rumble. Rumble's kind of a nuisance with the trolls. You can't block them like Facebook and TikTok, unfortunately. All right. Here's a guy talking. This one's pretty funny.
Without a woman in a man's life.
Oopsie. Hold on. There we go.
Without a woman in a man's life, he would find no need to fully furnish his house. Because a man lives more simple. A man needs a place to eat, sleep, use the washroom and shower, and sit and watch TV. He's not worried about ottomans and accent walls or throw pillows and backsplash.
Yeah.
He's worried about, is there beer in the fridge? Is there food in the freezer? And is there gas in the vehicle? Go to any single guy's house and tell me I'm wrong.
He's right. He's right. You'll find as men get older, especially, we have no desire to have stuff. And I'm thinking about the furniture that I have access to. It's a bed, and I bought a super narrow bed. I think it was $300 for the mattress and the frame in total. A love seat, a desk, and freezer and fridge. I'm happy. Bathroom with a working shower. I'm ecstatic. I don't care about these things. And I don't have like 9 sheets on my bed and then some kind of duvet thing and then a comforter and then a cover over top of that with 9 pillows. When I see that in a woman's room, oh, how much time are you wasting on this display? How many men are you bringing into this room that you think this is necessary? Who is this for? Like, really? Unless you're selling your house, who is that for? And he's right also about, stupid furniture that you don't need. Extra ottomans and fancy tables and all that crap on the walls and bookshelves. And You just don't need it. We don't care. We're men. We don't care about this stuff. The only time extra things become part of a man's desire would be the gun rack. Honestly, the gun safe. I live in the States. I can tell you there's a lot of guys that had a chair, a TV, and 5 gun racks. They did have that. The guns were important. The ottomans weren't.
That's funny. Oh, that's funny.
Thoughts?
My thoughts. I think that I guess we should listen. I think that sounds accurate. And honestly, I feel even myself, I used to like that. I used to like the decor and the throw pillows and all of that. But the older I get, the less attached I am to stuff. And I would rather spend my time, energy, and money on experiences over stuff. And I've been saying that for about 5 years now. So
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Stuff sucks. It's in the way.
Mhm.
And I mean, look, the older I get, the more I just come out and I admit what my personality quirks are. And my big thing here is when I'm walking anywhere in the house, when things touch my feet, I lose my friggin' mind. Why is it stored on the floor? The front door gets opened up and it's across the road. I have no interest in pussyfooting around my own place. I should be able to walk anywhere that I want in the dark without turning lights on. I should just be able to do so. There should be nothing on the floor. Yeah, but when you live with women, there tends to be that extra couple things on the floor. Maybe the grocery bag she forgot, the box of groceries she hasn't put away yet, whatever it might be, or just some big bag of stuff. No one knows where it came from. She forgot that she had it and you're tripping on it. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm very, very simple that way. Now, this one, ladies, I want you to really pay attention to. All right, this is actually a very cool video.
My husband cracked the damn code on me. He got home from overtime yesterday and he was like, I'm starving. I'm going to order Mexican food. What do you want? And I was like, I just ate with the baby. I'm not hungry. I don't need anything. And he looked at me and he went like, what do you want? And I was like, oh, like, I'm good, babe. I promise I'm good. I'm fine. I said, I'm fine. 20 minutes later, DoorDash shows up, and his food, of course, smells delicious, and the regret sits in my soul, and I don't say a thing because I made my bed. I need to lie in it, all right? I don't want to hear that I told you so. This is how I know I have a soulmate, because the first thing he pulls out of that bag was a burrito, not for him, for me. Said, here, because I was holding the baby. He's all, here's mom's burrito, because I know what I'm fine means. It means I'm going to be hungry when my food gets here, and no, I'm okay means just a bean and cheese burrito. It always means a bean and cheese burrito, and he's not wrong, okay? It does always mean I want a bean and cheese burrito.
Okay. Congratulations to this guy for cracking the code, and congratulations to this woman for finding a guy good enough to sift through the crap and figure out what she wants. But damn it, why can't she just say, yeah, I'm going to be hungry in 20 minutes. I want a cheese and bean burrito. Just answer the goddamn question.
Yes.
What is it with this coded speech? Mel, you're a woman, as far as I can tell. Please tell me, what is this deal?
I feel like at certain points in women's lives, we just are stubborn and we just have walls up, so that makes us communicate poorly and say stupid things like that. And we should really stop. Just ask for the damn burrito.
Okay, so you heard it first on this show. Ladies, just get to the point and tell us what you really mean. If you want a burger, you're going to get it. We will do anything that you want so long as we understand what it is you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. But every woman out there, I'm even guilty of it, has said at one time, I'm fine. Don't worry about it, even though we're not. So, but I think we do that because we've already got walls up, and that just is a catastrophic invitation for more poor communication.
Sure, because I'll take that literally. You know, I admire language for what it is. It's the most phenomenal technology that human beings have ever cooked up because it led to everything else that we've ever done. Right. And in there, with the accessibility to 420,000 words in the English language, and we can communicate sideways and upside down and man, like almost like time traveling. We like all this information we got. We could do anything with it. But women don't want to use that incredible technology the way that it was meant to be used. And thus they lose on a lot of opportunities out there. I mean, it could be a bean burrito, could be a new car, could be a vacation, it could be a new job, could be something because you want to be stupid and childish. And I have zero respect for it, by the way. I'm not going to get angry about it, but I don't respect it. And I do take things literally, and which is all. And one more thing I do also, Melanie, when a woman is nasty and sarcastic, I take that literally too. That's more deliberate. Yeah. I will, because they'll end up paying for their insolence by, they say, no, I don't want anything. Okay, done. They mean they want something. I'm not digging into it. You're getting nothing. You say you're fine. You're fine. You want to be mad at me about the fact that I accepted I'm fine as I'm fine? Well, too bad for you. I am not going to be putting up with it in any way. If you want to start chirping at me, I'm going to leave the room. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to throw things at you, but I'm also not going to listen to it. I'm up and I'm gone, and the evening is probably ruined. Just tell me the truth. Yeah. Tell the truth, man. Melanie, back me up on this. Please.
No, you're right. And I would be lying if I said at some points in my life I didn't do it. But you know what? Thinking back, I can't even make sense of why we do it. So I feel like it would just be simpler to just be direct and just be honest and not say, I'm fine, in hopes that the man's going to continue to pry into, I'm not fine. It's okay, women, to say, I'm not fine, and say, I'm upset, I'm exhausted, I'm whatever it is. Just communicate it. Yeah. It's just so much simpler.
Correct. So, ladies, there you go. You've heard it from both of us. Right? We're not accusing you of lying when you say these stupid things, but I'm also going to say that it's not the truth, and you will lose because most men will take it literally. That is what the logical male brain does. That's it. Oh, man. All right, everyone. Well, we are out of time. Melanie, do you have any final concluding statements to make about tonight's show?
Well, I would just like to say that we need to just keep growing as a species. And if you're still single, figure out what you can do to make yourself unsingle.
Maybe think about what you're doing wrong too, huh?
Maybe.
All right. Well, we're going to see you in a week.
Yeah.
Wonderful to see you again. Thanks for being here, Melanie.
Yeah,
greatly appreciate it.
Yeah. Have a good night.
That is a promise. All right. Take care. That's Melanie Switzer, everybody. Wow. She is amazing. Smart lady. That's why I love talking to her and why I'm very happy to call her a dear friend of mine. Well, that's going to be it for tonight. Guys, girls, this show, it's fun to do, but it actually is very tiring. This burns me out more than my political show on Tuesday. So I'm just going to say that we're not going to hang around. Sometimes the political show will do an extra half an hour. I can't do an extra half an hour of this stuff. It's just so emotionally and mentally draining because there are so many aspects to human relationships that the complexity is well beyond that of what politics could ever possibly be. But it doesn't change the fact that it's still a lot of fun. This show is going to continue on. We're doing at least 2 more episodes. If you want this show to continue past the 8 episodes that we promised, send us some email. Just there's the email address right here. You can email us at any time and let us know your thoughts on that. We will see you in a week. Good night, everybody.